From Germany, Manchester City to finalize second summer signing in next few days, OwnFootball. Manchester City are set to imminently finalize a deal for RB Leipzig centre-back Josko Gvardiol, who will likely become the most expensive defender in the world. The 21-year-old, who starred at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar for Croatia late last year, is closing in on becoming Manchester City's second signing of the summer transfer window, following in the footsteps of international teammate Mateo Kovacic. Gvardiol could become the second Croatian to sign for the Manchester City, after Kovacic completed an initial £25 million move from Chelsea last month, replacing the outgoing Ilkay Gundogan. The RB Leipzig centre-back has already agreed personal terms with the Blues, with City's interest in the defender no secret, as Pep Guardiola seeks to further strengthen his treble-winning squad. Gvardiol made 41 appearances for RB Leipzig last season, including featuring against Manchester City in the Champions League last 16, where the 21-year-old scored the equalizing goal in the first leg. The Croatian also helped RB Leipzig to the DFB Pokal trophy last month, making 5 appearances in competition, despite missing the final due to suspension. The Bundesliga club have already lost key midfielder Dominik Szoboszlai to Liverpool and Christopher Nkunku to Chelsea, but look set to lose a third player to the Premier League, as Gvardiol closes in on a move to the Etihad Stadium. Sport Witness relay a report from Sport Bild which claims that a deal is pretty much done for Gvardiol to move to Manchester City for a record-breaking fee. The German outlet claim that the deal is worth over €100 million, making the defender the most expensive in the world and eclipsing the fee Manchester United paid for Harry Maguire. Leipziger Volkszeitung report that the transfer will soon be confirmed, with the defender sitting on packed suitcases awaiting the green light to move to England and sign for the reigning Premier League and European champions. Gvardiol's price tag was heavily impacted by a €110 million release clause which becomes active next year, with RB Leipzig's director Max Eberl confirming over the weekend that the player wishes to move to Manchester City this summer. Revealed. Possible shirt numbers for rumored new record-breaking Manchester City signing Josko Gvardiol. Man United, Arsenal join City, Spurs in race to sign midfielder who will face England under-21s tonight, OwnFootball. Oscar Gluck has attracted interest from numerous clubs this summer. Man United, Arsenal, Man.City and Tottenham are all interested in signing Israel under-21 international Oscar Gluck, according to reports. Gluck will face England in the European Under-21 Championships on Wednesday night with the winners sealing a place in the final of the tournament. The 19-year-old moved to RB Salzburg in January for €7 million from Israeli side Maccabi Tel Aviv, with Gluck already winning 6 senior caps for his national team too. He starred at last summer's European Under-19 Championship and scored one of his 4 goals at the tournament against England in a 3-1 loss to the Three Lions. And now The Guardian claims that Premier League sides Man United, Arsenal, City and Tottenham are among a large group of clubs who have shown an interest in the Israeli. Barcelona, Villarreal, Milan and Monaco are also credited with an interest in the attacking midfielder, and RB Salzburg's sister club RB Leipzig would also like to bring him to the German Bundesliga in future, although it is understood Gluck would prefer to join a club in England or Spain. Gluck's father has already given his verdict on his son's possible move to one of Europe's Big 5 leagues. He said, "I feel he is more ready than a couple of years ago to make the move to a big league. I see him as a player who can cope in Europe. I'm not saying he will have an easy life. He will have to compete with a lot of players for his place. But, if it's possible to leave, he will leave. He worked his hardest to get where he is. He practiced from a year old and worked with tears in his eyes. People asked me why I made life difficult for him, and I said that, in time, he would go far. That was my intention. I just tell him to have fun and do what he knows. The sky is the limit." Former Israel international Gil Vermouth has claimed Gluck is something special. He said before his move to Salzburg, before the U19 Euros, I would have told him not to leave Maccabi Tel Aviv. Manchester City reveals stance on Atletico Madrid winger amid intensifying talk from Spain. OwnFootball. Manchester City have made indications to local media over their stance on Atletico Madrid winger Rodrigo Riquelme, amid transfer talk from Spain. It had been reported earlier this week that Manchester City were determined to secure the signature of the Spanish youth international, with a first proposal having already been made, but swiftly rejected by the La Liga giants. Manchester City's first proposal was reportedly made up of a €15 million fixed fee, with a further €6 million in add-ons. At the time of the original reports, it was claimed that negotiations remain open between the two clubs, with an agreement being feasible. However, despite developments on the claim being provided by the likes of Marca and AS from Spain, Manchester City have now seemingly briefed local media on their stance with regards to the youngster, who spent last season on loan at Girona. According to the understanding of BBC Radio Manchester's Mike Manet, there is no interest from Manchester City in signing Rodrigo Riquelme this summer. A similar line from the Manchester Evening News' Simon Bajkowski has been provided too, with it being stated that reports of a bid for Atletico Madrid's winger are wide of the mark. Manchester City are understood to be in the market for a winger this summer, but on the search for a player with a similar profile to Jack Grealish and Riyad Mahrez, as opposed to former wide men such as Leroy Sane and Raheem Sterling. Pep Guardiola is moving away from wide attackers using pace in abundance to spark Manchester City attacks, instead looking at profiles who prefer to retain possession for longer periods of time and play intricate passes with midfielders and full-backs. Elsewhere, City are expected to make their first formal approach for Josko Gvardiol this week, with RB Leipzig holding out for a world record transfer fee for the Croatian central defender, who has already indicated his desire to make the switch to the Premier League champions.